So my name is Jon Berg. Moved to Indy about 3 years ago and grew up in the suburbs of Iowa, a town called Urbandale. It was not urban nor a dale, but we grew up there. And moved here and took the bike that my dad had given us, my parents had given us, a couple of mountain bikes. I got this bike when I was 10 years old, and it sat in the garage. We lived in the burbs of Chicago for forever. We just always drove everywhere. So moved to Indy, and the first day that we were on the cultural trail, or going, I think it was east on New York Street, a guy that whizzed by us with a helmet on and about 800 reflectors and a full vest get-up, he screams to my wife and I, "It's a death trap out here, I tell you. It's a death trap." We're like, well, okay, that's a nice welcome to our new city. So that was like, I think, the first week that we were riding bikes here. But I joined an amazing organization called Public Allies and met a great guy named Jameson Hutchins that literally got both of us back on bikes and made us realize that you could truly commute, live, and work in the same place that you live, which was an amazing experience. We both try to bike everywhere that we can, if possible. So I was, kind of looking at my arsenal of bikes. Driving the mountain bike, like we've learned tonight, is not always the most, doesn't make always the most sense to do street biking. So I was talking to my dad about it, and hey, I'm going to buy this new bike, and he's like, oh, well, I don't know what you'll know about that bike. I wouldn't sell it because the serial numbers have been scratched off. And I said, oh, really? Well, anyway, so I still have that bike, and I joke with the guy, we take it down to Fountain Square to Joe's to get it serviced, and when I first brought it into him for a tune-up, I think it had probably been about 5 years since this bike had been looked over. He goes, oh yeah, I used to ride this in high school. So it made me feel really nice about, taking him a bike that was legitimate, but I guess, it could have been a Huffy or whatever they call it. But kind of in closing, Indy's been a great town for us to bike in. Every time we have friends that come in from out of town, from St. Louis or from Iowa, we always take them around on our bikes. We have a couple of additional bikes now, which I tell my wife are for guests.
I still only have one bike.
So that's how I get new bikes. So if you ever want a new bike, tell your wife it's for guests. It's the guest bike. So that's kind of how I make that work now, and it's cool. It's very cool to live in a city where you can literally bike everywhere and feel safe. And only sometimes does it feel like a death trap. So that's my story.